Welcome to this episode of the Iowa Beef Collective. I am your host, Patrick Wall, and today we're going to have a little bit of a self-indulgence episode. I mentioned on the introduction that the livestock judging and the history here at Iowa State would be covered. Today I'm joined by the current ISU Livestock Judging Coach, Will Taylor. I'll just turn it over to Will and let him introduce himself to the audience. Will, where are you from? What sort of got you to land here at Iowa State?
Awesome. Well, Pat, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited, and I'm glad to hear your interest in the history of the program and where we're at, and more importantly, where we're headed. I am Will Taylor, and so I grew up in Central Indiana. Grew up with a non-traditional background, is what I would call it, from a livestock standpoint. Mom and Dad didn't have a farm. I didn't grow up on a livestock operation, but I was fortunate to have a lot of great mentors. And so had a neighbor that let me show some livestock growing up, and then that got me integrated, and that got me into the swine industry, and then worked into the livestock judging side of things through that introduction in the swine industry. Was able to be on very competitive 4-H and FFA teams throughout my early career, and then attended Lincoln Land Community College in Springfield, Illinois. Transferred from there to Western Illinois University. Was fortunate enough to have some really great internship experiences throughout my time there. So I was with the National Swine Registry for a summer. I was with Belstra Milling at the Legacy Farm, where they tour and have an agritourism wing, and then also spent a summer with Sunglow Feeds also. And so really fortunate to develop professionally throughout that time, and that led me to graduate school here at Iowa State University. So I started a master's in 2018 and was able to start helping coach the judging team in a assistant coach capacity, and that got me kind of started. I finished my master's in 2021 under the direction of Dr. Ken Stalder. We looked at cull sows and cull sow value, things of that nature, and then jumped directly into a PhD. And then things started to change after that a little bit, and so I was fortunate to join an interim role in 2023 and then move into a full-time assistant teaching professor and livestock judging coach position here at the college, and have been in that since December of 2023. And have been really enjoying that. And so have a true passion for livestock judging, and really a true passion for the history of livestock judging here at Iowa State, and honored to be in this position and to be able to talk about judging today.
Awesome. I guess, how many teams have you coached so far?
That's a great question. So I started in 2018, so it depends on how you count the 18 team, because I would have got here in the fall of 18. And so we kind of started that group through the fall, and was able to assist them in their fall run, so Barra Show, the Mid-American, and things like that, and then rounded out at Kansas City and Louisville, and then coached the 19 and 20 teams and 21 teams in the assistant role, so there would be 3 teams there, and I really enjoyed those teams and had a lot of growth through those teams, and then jumped into the interim role in 22 and 23. And the 23 team would be a team that I am very, very proud of. We really elevated the program during that time. And that 2023 team was a team that was in the top 5 at every contest we went to that year. We were third the majority of the time, and to be in the top 5 is a big deal at these senior college livestock judging contests. And so that was the 23 team, and then coached the 24 team in the role full time, and then this 25 team that we're about to finish. We leave tomorrow morning. We're about to finish here at Louisville, and so that's in mid-November, and that team, the 2025 team, would be another team I'm really proud of. We, too, have been in the top 5 almost everywhere that we've been to. And so that's been a really proud accomplishment, and excited to finish that journey here before too terribly long.
So you went there, and I was going to go there anyway. So both of us are products of the JUCO system.
Yep.
I want you to talk to the audience about recruitment, because this is no different really than a sport. But your recruitment largely is the junior college transfer.
Yep.
talk about is there recruitment for incoming freshmen here, or do you take what you get that sounds bad, but you get the students that are here and then you train them once they're here. So talk about recruitment of your next judging team. You talked about building the program. How do you go about it?
So that's an awesome question. I'm going to approach that from two different facets. So you mentioned the in-house student and the student that's innate to our campus and chooses to come here for their 4-year experience, and we value those students, and we are shifting our focus to continue to develop those. And so I'm gonna put a pin in that and say, the true overarching goal of my program and what we're doing here at Iowa State and what we believe in starts in the 4-H and youth development. And so what we are trying to do is through camps and through outreach opportunities, we're trying to integrate students into livestock judging and build a passion at an early age. And I would tell you that I feel as passionate and connected to the 4-H groups in Iowa as I ever have, because of what we're doing. And what that looks like is the teams that are attending national contests, they're traveling with us. The American Royal team that went down and was 4th at the American Royal, they were with us the entire journey. We worked out with the team from Grinnell FFA that was in the top 3 just a couple weeks ago at the national FFA contest. And so to be able to be around them and develop them is a real joy and passion for me. And so I believe that no matter what happens after 4-H FFA in high school, it's my job to develop those students throughout that time. And so we have judging camp. That is the best way to get integrated in livestock judging and to get your start and foothold on that. I'm really proud of what we developed last year for judging camp. We had some junior college coaches come over, both from here in Iowa and outside of Iowa, to interact with those students and to get that foot in the door for students. And it's been fun to watch them connect and be able to capitalize on the connections they made here at camp. And then one thing that we're going to roll out this spring that's really exciting is we divided the state into quadrants, and we're going to have pop-up camps. And so what we're going to do there is throughout, I believe it's April, early April, we're going to have 1-day meets and livestock judging camps where myself and Caroline Downey come to an area and talk about coaching and talk about judging. And so we can kind of rotate through, talk to the adults for a little bit and help them build successful teams, and then talk to the students about, hey, this is how you're going to be successful as a judge, and get in front of them and get that started once again during the 4-H and FFA time period. And so that's really something I'm excited about and believe in, and think we're headed in the right direction there. If that student then comes to college age and they say, I'm passionate about a 4-year experience at Iowa State, that's great. And we're excited about that. And we've started building that, to me, in the right direction to keep those students integrated. And so what we have there is actually, as we speak, 1020X is being taught on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it's a back half of the first semester that students are here. And it's an introduction to livestock, dairy, and meat evals. And so what that does is helps introduce these students that are coming to our campus to judging, or help keep them integrated, give them some practice classes and things of that nature as they get into their college experience. And so
I think there's a bit of a misnomer out there. Livestock judging has built. It is a much bigger thing than it was 40, 50 years ago. But I think there's a lot of students, and probably on this campus, that feel like, I didn't go to a JUCO, there's no way I'm going to make the team. And that's wrong. I was on a very successful team, and over half of our team was not from the junior college ranks. So what you've just talked about starts in 4-H and FFA. Everybody can do that.
Every single person.
You're not 2 years behind on livestock evaluation, because you're still developing as you're a freshman and sophomore. You're just not traveling like you would at a JUCO. So I think we need to, try to help kids put that to bed, that just because they don't want to go the junior college rank, that their livestock judging goals can't be achieved. you've talked a lot about the recruitment process. So the JUCO kids.
Yep.
Let's talk about them. How do we get them? What's the process?
That is, and we got that 1020X, and that's really our development of our in-house kids. But that the other piece and the other side of that is the junior college transfer. And so that's a very integral part of what I do. And to be successful in today's collegiate livestock judging ranks, you have to have those students on your campus and out there. And so just a little background on that. And Pat and I both have this experience. The junior college experience is an awesome opportunity. And what it allows you to do and I'm gonna start in senior college. In senior college, you can judge for 1 calendar year.
Yep.
You can go through all the major contests one time. And it is very traditional, dating back to the earliest ages of the contest, that you do that between your junior and senior year of college. That's what you did. That's what I did. That's what H.H. Kildee did, I would assume, when he was a member of the judging team. And so that one lap is all you get from a judging standpoint. And so what junior college does is it allows you to also do it your sophomore year of college in a junior college setting. And those contests are, I would call them similar or the same, but slightly different. So like our national contest, Louisville, it's only senior college that competes in that particular contest. Update this year, we're in Freedom Hall.
Oh, cool.
So we get to judge on the green shavings in Freedom Hall.
Cool.
And the junior college contest is in Broadbent Arena.
Yeah.
And it's also on the green shavings, but same time, separate animals, separate contest. My point in saying all that is the junior college rank allows you to go through all the contest one additional time. And additionally, your freshman year, you're basically judging that year too. So you judge all freshman year, you judge all sophomore year, and then you get to transfer to a senior college. So my take on that, I truly believe that if we develop our 4-H program right, we send students to junior colleges appropriately, they will come back and bolster our program. But I also believe that I'm a wide net caster, to be honest with you, because what I do is we have a very intensive recruitment process, and I try and be in contact. I've got a list, and I'm updating it and working on it today. We're about 45 students that I'm going to recruit actively and try and have on campus, because my experience is that if I have 40 to 50 students on campus, then 25 will come to be a part of our program. And that is truly the teams that I referenced, 23 and 25, which would be my current team and that 23 team. Those teams were heavy junior college transfers, looking at 90% junior college transfers and 10% in-house kids on those teams. And so it's a very important part, and having the right leaders is also something that I really focus on.
And I think, thinking back to my year on the team here, the junior college kids were almost like assistant coaches when it came to reasons, format, phrasing, that kind of stuff that, we kind of took on the role to help the in-state in-house kids get to our level on a reasons standpoint, and they did.
Yep.
We worked our butts off doing it. We practiced a lot, and I think that probably leads us to the next question for both students and parents. What is the time commitment to be on the team at Iowa State?
That is a great question. I'm going to ask a return question. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you were on the team, what was your time commitment?
Class was, oh man, you're thinking way back. 2 days a week, I think.
Yep.
And running up to the contest every weekend,
mm-hmm.
And sometimes an additional trip during the week. So rolling up to the American Royal in Louisville, it was 5 days a week.
Yep. That's and I more asked that just conversationally,
sure,
because I think it's interesting to see what changes and what doesn't change, And so where we're at is that first fall that you're kind of interested in the judging team, whether it be from a 4-year standpoint or a junior college transfer standpoint, you're going to enroll in ANSI 3050, which is ANSI 305,
yeah.
to you. And so that is livestock evaluation taught by me. And that class now meets on Mondays and Wednesdays for about 1 to 2 hours twice a week. And so that's your beginning. We start talking about some of the basic concepts of livestock judging. We start talking about some of the contest we will go to and what classes are and what things look like from that standpoint. So that's first semester, you're looking at 2 to 3 hours a week. It'd be what I would call it. We start then in December, probably December 1st, and we will practice Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in some capacity, whether it be on campus or traveling. And I would call those practices an average of 2 hours each. So we're looking at 6 hours Monday, Wednesday across the week, and then about every weekend. If you look from state fair to now, we've had one weekend off, and we have traveled almost every Saturday. And unfortunately for me, I need those Sundays sometimes. And
right.
We haven't got a lot of Sundays off or as many as I like, but it's most weekends, I would call it. So we're still looking at, it's been 20 years since you judged, and we're still looking at 5 days a week.
Yep.
We'll call it an average of 3 to 4 hours a day by the time everything averages out. So you're looking at about 20 hours a week. Now, granted, we are about to embark on a Louisville trip, and when we go on a trip, we're going to be on the road for 3 to 4 days in advance. This one's a little longer. We're going to be on the road for 6 days before we judge.
All that said, 20 hours a week. If you talk about the junior college kids, they've done that 2 straight years. So the commitment is real. Looking back on it from my standpoint, academically, I never felt overwhelmed. There are some that do, and there will be times when academically it's darn tough. But I think that in itself is what makes livestock judging alumni kids really marketable when they're done. And we'll talk about that. And we didn't even talk about winter workout.
No.
So, the year that I started at Iowa State, we had a blizzard come in and we all had to come back early. And it was, you learn a lot about yourself and how many clothes you can put on.
Yep. And I'm going to jump in there on the academics piece because something that we are really proud of at Iowa State is something that you accomplished during your time as a collegiate judge. You know what that is?
All-American.
The first ever All-American honoree. I believe we had 3 that year.
Correct.
Dr. Nick Berry, Dustin Ford, and yourself.
Correct.
And so that was started the year that Pat judged, and we are really proud to have continued the tradition of having All-Americans, and that honors academic accomplishment while being a high-level judge. And so that's something that's meaningful. That's something that's important, and that's something that judging helps you balance. And so that's really imperative for what we do.
If I had to point at an award that I would say I'm most proud of, or the award that I would tell someone about, that All-American plaque was awesome because it encompassed everything that I had worked on for the previous 4 years, because you get it when you're a senior. So yeah, that was awesome. I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they still do it. It's a really competitive team to get on as well.
Absolutely.
And I think that makes a really good segue. And whether you're a student or a parent watching this, the value from livestock judging ain't All-American awards, and it ain't ribbons and trophies. And if it goes well for you, great. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about I guess you could say, value that you would gain outside of marking a card and giving reasons. And I think part of it is, and the producer here, when I started this podcast, was like, you don't have any notes? You don't have your laptop open? And you and I just sitting here conversing. We didn't have a set of questions.
Nope.
We didn't, it's not to say we didn't have a plan. I knew what we wanted to talk about. And some of my colleagues are the same way. Like, how do you do this with no script? Oral reasons.
Mm-hmm.
They are an absolutely invaluable tool for communicating in your professional career.
Yep.
I have done, I don't know, Brent, 20 episodes. I haven't had a single note. I just basically have trained my brain to communicate with people with general ideas and concepts. And that's no different than a set of reasons in front of an industry professional that sometimes is very intimidating.
Yep.
And it prepares you for job interviews.
Yep.
It prepares you for speaking with adults that are very experienced and doing it with respect. And so I'll turn it over to you. What have I forgot? And maybe some examples of, students that have come into your program and what they've got out of it that maybe you didn't even expect.
I think that is, so when you think about the true value of livestock judging, what are we doing and what are we creating? I think that the communication skills, the dedication, and the decision making are the three things that I think separate this activity. And so if you'll let me, I get very passionate and excited about this, and it may take a second to get through it, but just go on the journey with me. What is livestock judging? Okay. So at its core, as I go to a contest as a coach, what am I tasked with doing? I'm tasked with identifying 5 individuals of our current 11, or how many ever are on the team, but I'm tasked with identifying 5 individuals that will go individually evaluate 12 classes and give 8 sets of reasons. And they have 12 minutes to make a decision at each of those 12 classes. And then they have 30 minutes to prepare 8 successive sets of reasons. And that in and of itself is not easy. Right?
And it's not one decision per class.
It's 4.
It's 4 or even more. Yeah.
Even more. You're exactly right. What I failed to mention is that those students, the 5 students that I identify, are going to walk into the contest at 7 a.m. and be asked to not speak to anyone else unless they're giving a set of reasons, and they will come out of the contest at 8 p.m. We're looking at a 13-hour day.
In professional dress all day long.
In professional dress all day long with no guidance from me. And so we are asking students to do that. That's a tall task, right? But that's what a judging contest is in a vacuum, kind of. If we're just going to make it basic. My understanding of the career climate and landscape is that you are asked to individually make decisions that represent the greater good of your team and make those decisions quickly, efficiently, and then defend that decision.
Yep.
And so I truly believe there's no activity that you can do on this campus that asks you to make a decision and then communicate the reasons for that division or that decision effectively. If you think, well, basketball, our collegiate basketball team, I watched them win last night. I was very excited about that. Not a single one of them had to describe why they passed the ball or why they took that shot. That's the difference between livestock judging and other activities that you can do during your time.
Some folks will turn to meets or live, meat animal eval.
Yep.
Those are written reasons.
Yep.
Which is a different good form of communication, but it is not verbal and it is not without notes.
Yep.
That's the other part that, where livestock judging gets really hard is you have to defend your decision with no notes.
And I fail to mention that a lot because you're not going to score in reasons if you use your notes.
Correct.
You can take notes, but you can't use them.
Right. And FFA has some extemporaneous speaking and some of those focused topics they don't do it 8 times.
One
and
speech.
They don't do it in 12 minutes per class and develop 8 speeches. It is a very intense, mentally focused day.
Yep.
And I think once you get done with livestock judging, some of the challenges that'll come at you in your career will feel pretty minor.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way a lot of my approach has been. Like, this isn't that hard.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's why the contests are beneficial.
Yep.
Let's talk about winter workout.
Yeah.
We embark every year on winter workout, and what it is it's everybody goes home for Christmas, and we say stay 5 more days, and then we send them home to get a little family time and a little Christmas, and then everybody celebrates the New Year's and says, well, I got 2 more weeks of break left. Not us.
Right.
We got to prepare for the National Western Stock Show, and I always pray that the weather is poor, and so that we can really build character during those times, like you talked about, because that's something. When you don't want to do something, when you least want to be standing on a hill in the wind and you can't feel your feet, that's when you decide, well, this is worth it, and I'm going to improve, and those are when critical decisions are made. And from my experience, this thing we call life, outside of your professional life and outside of your career, life in general, personally, is not particularly easy.
Right.
And you have to every day decide, well, I'm going to stick it out because of this goal, or I am going to continue to deal with this situation because of this thing I'm pursuing. And so I truly believe that livestock judging portion is what helps develop students to be better people in life, and help us to develop. And additionally, there's 11 students on the judging team currently. I think you had in the
9, 10, somewhere in there.
I would venture to guess in the calendar year you traveled together, there were times when those 9 or 10 were your very best friends. And there were times that you wanted to be anywhere but in a Chevy Express van going up and down the road with those 9 or 10 humans.
Yeah. You have to learn to basically live with them, because you do.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, I talk to those 8, 9, 10 people more than I talk to any high school classmate. Mm-hmm. Even a lot of, I lived at AGR. I talk to those people more than I do the AGR brothers that I lived with when I wasn't judging. Mm-hmm. So it's a big part of your life, but man, it was worth it. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to plant a seed here at the end, and we're going to talk about recruitment from a different angle. There's no NIL for livestock judging. But there are some programs in the country that have a very large support system, and it makes a difference. College is expensive.
Yep.
An endowment fund. Has it been talked about? I think it should be talked about. There's as much livestock judging history at Iowa State as there is anywhere. And we have a very large alumni population that still lives here. Some of them live far away, but they still stay connected to the livestock judging industry. Who won Kansas City? Did Iowa State have anybody in the top 10? Did we win NBS again? That type stuff. Mm-hmm. So talk about, what scholarships you have available to you now, and let's plant a seed for maybe where we could go next on an endowment fund, or what could be done. If you were king for a day and you could raise some more funds to help you with the recruitment process, what do you need?
That's a great question. And I love that question. And it's something that I've leaned into and learned to just lean into that discussion. And when you have needs, ask and help people help you. And so I'm going to touch on, first off, our alumni. We have the greatest alumni on the face of this earth. And I very, very truly believe that they are as passionate about this activity as anyone that I've ever met. And they believe in what this offers, and they are truly invested in how we do. It may not be a text every day from an alumni, but they ask, they care, and they want to know how my current team is and how my next team is every single time. And that means the world to me. I love going to the Iowa State Fair, and I love seeing our alumni succeed, and I'm truly passionate about that. And that's something that we are developing as a program, connection with alumni. I brought the team to your place this last year, and that was a true honor and a privilege.
I felt the same way. That was something I always wanted to have happen, and we're ready for you again.
Yes, and it's something that that's meaningful. It's a connection, and it's meaningful. We took the team to Colby Birch's not too long ago.
Oh, sure.
And the pride and joy on his face as he discussed those classes was awesome, and it was meaningful. And so that's really something that I want to make sure I hit on, right? Our alumni mean something, and those connections are something I'm trying to build. It's not easy. And it takes time, and it's something that I'm building as we go, because I feel like we failed that in the recent past. And so it's something that I think is something we're going to build on. So alumni, we have the best alumni, we have the best support. As far as scholarships go, that is a question that's very interesting to delve into. Our students are very well supported currently in just covering the expenses associated with judging. It will come at no cost to a student, almost no cost, I should say, to a student that chooses to be a part of the judging team. All of their meal expenses are intended to be reimbursed at the end of their experience. All their course fees that are associated with judging are offset, and we cover all hotels and travel expenses. Now, as you know, there is some extracurricular portion to judging that you're going to spend some time on the road, and you may make some choices that an extra meal here or there. And,
right.
And so that's not, you may have some expense, but we intend to cover meals and things of that nature very well.
And I'm sure right now, all of my team members and those on either side of me are like, we didn't have anywhere close to that.
Yep.
So I'm kudos. It's better than it once was, because livestock judging for me I wouldn't say it was expensive, but it certainly wasn't free.
Yep. And there's a lot of cost sacrifice. You know, you're not working, you're not doing things that you could allow you to build wealth or build expenses and things of that nature. So that's number one, and that box is checked, and I feel very good about that. It is additionally a very competitive environment to how do I want to say this, to make sure that students, I firmly believe that any student should have a little investment in their educational experience, but I very firmly believe that it should be around what in-state tuition is. And I'm very comfortable with where our university's at from that standpoint. But I am always looking for opportunities to help get students in from out of state and help offset the cost of out of state tuition for those students. So,
man, where were you in 1990?
Yes. and that's something that I'm very passionate about. And so I think then that leads me to our seed, right? And where we're at. And I guess you kind of jumped that on me, but it's something that I'm really pumped up about. We have had some very generous donors, and we have some passionate alumni, and so I'm more than willing to shout one of those out. Neil and Kitty Conover were able to support our judging camp and have been very generous, and we are actively looking to match the funds that they're contributing currently. And so my request and where we're at is that we help network and group alumni together to make sure that those funds are matched, equaled, or exceeded. And so we can continue to provide out-of-state assistance, we can continue to provide travel opportunities, and we can continue to be competitive with other universities that are able to offset tuition cost.
And that's why I brought that up, because you are competing on a recruiting basis against other universities that have endowments already.
Yep.
And you don't want to be in the rearview mirror when it comes to tuition fees. You're behind the 8 ball already from a recruitment standpoint. So I'm glad the ball is rolling. Hopefully, we get this thing on the airwaves, and it may spur some interest from some alumni that can financially support the program that helped their career.
And that would be huge.
Yep.
That would be huge, and that would be massively appreciated. And I think the other thing is when we talk endowments, just because you don't maybe have millions of dollars to give, any little bit helps. Mm-hmm. $500 is a meal for students on the road, and that is to watch those kids when you've been on the road for 5 days and they've been nickeled and dimed at every gas station across the Midwest. And I say, hey guys, this one's on the college. Their eyes light up and they do better. And so anything helps us to build confidence in those students and help them feel supported, because that's when they perform their best.
Yeah. And there was a period of probably 5+ years where I couldn't look at a French fry anymore. I didn't order them. That diet was obviously hard on your figure, but hard on your liver, and all of those. The gas station fast food diet was not something I would like to relive. So the fact that you guys are supporting a kid, even periodically, not every meal, but some of them, mm-hmm. Is good to hear. Any parting words for recruits, parents out there? I think we've covered the gamut pretty well.
I would just reiterate that judging is the most influential opportunity that you can be a part of in your collegiate career. And it's not exclusive to junior college transfers. It's not exclusive to in-state students. And there's a lot of opportunities to make sure that you are prepared for this. And I would tell you, what it gains you in the long run is worth every sacrifice you make in the short run. And so I'm very excited about where we're at. I'm very excited about continuing to learn where we've been, but I'm more excited about where we're headed and what's coming, because I think that there's a lot of really, really cool opportunities coming in the pipeline, and to be able to share them with you, one of our greatest alumni and one of the greatest teams that's been in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Is really, really special to me. And so thank you for having me, and thank you for this opportunity to put things into perspective.
Sure.
And kind of see where we're at.
I'll put a cherry on top of it because, for any students that are, pursuing options, the placement here, if you're a parent, a college's job is still to get your son or daughter a job when you're done.
Yep.
Ag placement here is as good or better.
99.9.
And has been for a long time. And I think there are some other programs out there that can't tout that. So that should be the number one selling point for Iowa State. And it has been. We use it. But our placement and getting kids into a career is second to none. So with that, thanks, Will, for coming on. You audience, thanks for joining us again here on the Iowa Beef Collective. Don't forget to follow and subscribe on YouTube. Catch this on your usual social channels, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it. Like us on Facebook. Follow the Iowa Beef Center. Thanks for joining us.
This institution is an equal opportunity provider. For the full non-discrimination statement or accommodation inquiries, go to www.extension.iastate.edu/legal.